2021 Alaska missions trip, all right? Thank you guys all so much for making it this morning. We're actually recording this meeting for some of those that didn't make it. I know with the holidays and other stuff going on with COVID, it can be hard to get everybody together in one place. But thank you guys for sticking around today, whether you're new to the missions trip this year or you're coming back from last year, round two. But thank you guys all so much for being here. I just wanted to run over some things. We have an official date now, so that's exciting. You can look through your calendars and make sure nothing interferes with that. Danny, could I ask you to pass out one of these to all the family members? So we did have a meeting with the teenagers a couple months ago because we were starting fundraising and we wanted to get together. And we gave them some of the forms from last year without thoroughly reading them over. And there's some information that may not be accurate to this year because, of course, everybody knows this year has changed quite a bit. So we have looked it over and we are going to run it through again and make sure you guys have all the information you need. So the date for the missions trip is June 26th through July 5th of 2021. Last year it was in August. This year it's going to be a little earlier in the summer. So being that late in June, we're really hoping it won't interfere with anybody's closing school schedules or anything like that, being the very last week of June. If they're trying to keep you in school that long, you should probably just get out of there, right? All right, but the missionary's name is Pastor Jacob Gerashmov. He is married, and I think he has 3 daughters, 2 in high school, 1 in college, and their sending church is actually Valley Forge Baptist Church. So they're close from our area. They understand the Pennsylvania life, but he is retired Coast Guard, and he's been up in Alaska for 3 years, I believe now, 3 years. And the church's name is Homer Independent Baptist Church. It's about 4 hours south of Anchorage, right on the coast. Their church is actually on the ocean. You can walk about 300 feet and you are in the ocean from their church, all right? It's a beautiful little white church property. When we get there, last year on the schedule, we had a teen event we were going to help out with and a children's event. This year, it's just going to be the VBS that we're helping out with, and then also they might give us some physical jobs to do. So it might be we help with painting or something like that, but there's going to be plenty of ways that we can serve. The missions trip opportunities is the next section here. You will get hands-on practical and spiritual experience with missions work. We'll be able to minister to Homer Independent Baptist Church through music and fellowship at church services. We'll be there for 2 Sundays according to this schedule, so that's plenty of time where we can help out with their music or help out with their programs. And the week in between those Sundays is when we'll be helping with their vacation Bible school. We'll be able to spread the gospel through outreach. There may be a couple mornings or afternoons where we help pass out information around the community about the Vacation Bible School or about the church. Host a 5-day children's, and then I just found out that there won't be a teen rally, just a children's program for the community of Homer, Alaska. So if you've never worked in kids programs or a VBS, it's a great way to get introduced into ministry work. And then, of course, experience the beautiful state of Alaska through activities such as sightseeing, hiking, and glacier viewing. All right, so we will be serving quite a bit, but there will be plenty of time where we will enjoy the mission field, the atmosphere, plan some activities, go hiking, see some of the beautiful things around there. I think they're within an hour drive of one of their state forests, which has a lot of things we can do as well. So that's some general information and some missions trip opportunities. Before I get into the fundraising or the commitment part of it, are there any questions so far about what we talked about? About the, yes? Will there be fishing? We probably won't go on any sort of like charter fishing activity or anything like that, but being so close to the water, there may be some opportunities that they could do shore fishing if the church or missionary has some rods and reels. We won't be able to bring our own. We won't be able to fit those into baggage or anything like that. But there may be opportunities. I'm guessing Musa probably paid you to ask that, huh? Musa's like, Dad, here's $10 extra. No, just kidding. But maybe we'll see. It's kind of, it's still 6 months out, but if that's something that a couple of the guys would enjoy, I'll see if there's a morning that we can try to rent or use some of the church's pools or something. So definite possibility since we'll be in walking distance of the water. All right, anything else? The church runs about, I don't know how many it runs on average. It's hard to tell during COVID, but they're definitely growing. They've grown ever since they started at the church 2 years ago. So it'll be an exciting church plant type of atmosphere that we get to serve in. All right, so let's talk about the next section on your notes, which is commitment, which goes two ways, all right? There's commitment on the attendees and commitment to the missions team, commitment to Bensalem Baptist Church that we're going out of, and then there's commitment the other way, our church to the teenagers, to the parents, and to the families. And our commitment is kind of this, that we will, of course, prioritize safety during this whole trip, that we'll make sure that it is a safe environment, of course, throughout all the 7 days. No matter what we do activity-wise, we're going to make sure that it's safe for your child. We prioritize all of the planning, really, when it comes to dates, logistics, flights, transportation, baggage, food, where we're going to be staying. The church is committed to figuring all that out on our end. And also, when it comes to the fundraising commitment, the church is committed to helping you, your family, and your teenagers have every opportunity through fundraisers to raise what you need to raise for the missions trip. So that's kind of our commitment, the way that we help out, the way that we're committed to this trip. We're not just giving you these pieces of paper and saying good luck. We're going to be with you along every step of the way, including communication. I don't know if my cell phone number is on here, but I'm always available for text or call if you have any questions, if you want to know how much money there's left to be fundraised, if you want to know what fundraisers are coming up, if you want to know more about the trip. We're also committed to communication, all right? So that's a little bit on the church's end, but what are we asking of the teens and the parents that are going? What are we asking them to commit to? First, we want a commitment to be faithful to church. We ask that all missions team members hold a faithful attendance to Bensalem Baptist Church services and youth Bible studies. There are some families and some people who just come to worship with us on Sunday mornings. But if your teen is going to be involved in the missions trip, we're asking that we go a step beyond that. We'd really like to see teenagers right now we have 3 services. We know that some work, but we'd really like to see them at least 2 of the 3 services. Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night, 3 opportunities, but we're really looking at faithfulness. And make sure you check in when you come to church. And on Wednesday night, we're taking attendance now as well, so we will be able to keep track of that. And if we see a teenager who hasn't been at church in 3 or 4 weeks, we're really going to raise some questions on if they're committed to going on the missions trip or not. But of course, as we found out this year, there's plenty of reasons why you may not be able to come to church with COVID or a family member. So please just communicate with us, all right? We're understanding people, we're reasonable people. Just let us know if you can't come, if you have a work schedule, if your family's taking a trip for a week or so. We're definitely reasonable when it comes to that, but we are looking for a level of commitment and faithfulness to church services and church functions. Secondly, we're asking that each teenager serve faithfully in a church ministry and participate in church outreach, which there isn't much outreach going on right now, but I'm sure we'll have some when it comes to Easter and springtime, hopefully. But looking around, I think most teenagers in this room are involved in a ministry, and we have heads of each ministry that kind of lead things up, so I can check with them anytime and say, hey, has Caleb been doing his ministry that he's on the schedule for. Has John been faithful to what he's doing? And we can check up on that. So we're definitely asked that they are involved and that they stay faithful in serving in a ministry. And if you have any scheduling problems or you're not part of a ministry yet, please see me and we can help you get plugged into something. All right, the next commitment is the following actions may disqualify you from participating in the missions trip and will forfeit your fundraising. Expulsion from school is a possibility, any school that you may go to. Criminal activity, all right? We can't use the missions fund to bail you out of jail, John, all right? We can't do that. Any criminal activity could forfeit your right to go. Acts of immorality, lack of faithfulness to church, which we already talked about a little bit there. So that's some of the things we're asking for you to commit to, your teenager to commit to. And parents, your commitment as well as we'd really like your help in the fundraising for the teenagers. It's easy to just drop the teen off for the fundraiser, but we would really love some ideas. We'd really love for even if you wanted to run some fundraisers on your own, or if you just wanted to jump in and see where you could help with fundraisers that we do at the church. We'd really appreciate the parents committing to that and getting involved as well. But if you turn the page over, there's a little bit more about fundraising and cost, all right? And in the last meeting we had when we talked about cost, there's a few things I wanted to clarify. When I mentioned costs, I may have made it more intimidating than I should have, but we are getting a really good price for the trips that we're going on. And in past, what I've been told is it's cheaper than some of the missions trip that they've done in the past. Some of that is because we're staying stateside and things like that. But going over the total amount we need and looking at the bank account, we already have over half, if not about 60% of what we need to go as a group. Now, that doesn't mean that we can slack off. We still have a lot of work to do, but you should feel very positive about the position that we're in to go to right now. And last year, we stressed a lot individuals raising the certain number amount that they need. This year, the dynamic has changed a little bit, and we're focusing more on the group effort, reaching the group costs that we need. And I think at the most, the cost would be somewhere around $15,000 to $16,000. And I think if you count our Airbnb credit and what we've raised already, I think we have, like I said, 50%, if not a little more of that. And I don't mean to say that to take away any motivation from fundraising, because we still got to work really hard, but I want you guys to realize that we have a really great start, all right? We have a really great start when it comes to fundraising. We will provide many fundraising opportunities for the teens to help reach the team goal. Speaking of fundraisings, I will give out a schedule before the new year that'll have plenty of fundraisers that we're doing for the first 6 months of the year. But next Sunday, right after the morning service, after the musical, we're going to be selling some pre-packaged baked sticky buns from Fritz Bakery. Of course, we'll raise the prices a little bit so we can make a profit off it. But the next fundraiser is Sunday morning after church. I'm sorry I didn't communicate that to you in advance, but I didn't even think we would be able to sell anything until Tuesday, until I found out they did prepackaged stuff. So if you come next Sunday morning, if you could stay 20 minutes after the service, that would be a great way to fundraise there. Anyway, that was a side note. But we believe each teen who participates faithfully in the fundraisers will raise enough funds to attend the trip with little to nothing paid out of pocket. The teenagers will be required to send letters to friends and family. Some of those who already did that last year, we're not requiring you to do it a second round, but if you wanted to, we could definitely help. But those of you that are new, we are requiring you to send letters to friends and family. We'll give you the format and help you out with that. And I know you may say, oh, none of my friends or family are going to help me out. They're not going to donate anything. We'll leave that up to God, but we are requiring you to at least send them out, all right? Even if you don't think they'll donate anything, we are requiring that you send them out as a fundraiser, because you may be surprised, and every little bit helps. The donations earned from letters will go towards the record of the teenager it is addressed to. We're going to be focusing more on raising money as a group, but we will have in our records an individual account. For reasons like last year when COVID hit, we had to return and distribute some things again, so it's nice to know where every single dollar came from and who it went to, so we do keep track of that. The teenager must be present and participate at the fundraiser in order for the money earned to go towards their record, all right? So they got to be at the fundraiser for it to count towards their goal. The money raised through fundraisers and letters will be recorded for each teenager and deposited in an account for safekeeping. We will hold all the money in a safe account here at the church that will be untouched and unconnected to any other account. We will send frequent reminders and updates to teenagers' parents so they can know the progress of the group and individual. If you ever have any questions about how much or how you're doing, we can let you know within a few hours if you ask us. But that is kind of the general information when it comes to the trip and the fundraising. Of course, we don't have flight times yet, so I can't put like the actual times that we'll be leaving on those days. But I tried to provide as much information as I possibly could. I do want to talk about the commitment forms next, but before we get to that, are there any questions about fundraising or what we talked about or anything that you guys wanted to mention or ask? No questions? All right. All right then. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the commitment form. First of all, why do we need a commitment form? It's a small church, a small group. Why do we have to make it legal and sign something? Well, first of all, we're taking teenagers out of the state, all right? So I don't get arrested. I need you to sign the release and commitment form. So reason number one is so Trevor doesn't go to jail, all right? Other reasons are so we are not liable for certain things. So on the missions trip, if John slides on a glacier and busts his elbow open, the church can't be sued or anything like that. Just some legal parts of it, okay? But also the commitment form has another place to sign where you're saying that without reasonable doubt you're committed to your teenager going on the trip. And we're going to ask for these back January 20th, so you have a month to figure out if this is something you really want to fully commit to. And the reason we ask that for advance is because we're buying tickets, we're buying Airbnbs with certain sizes and certain rooms, so it helps out the cost of the trip a lot if we know it in advance, if you're seriously committed to the trip, all right? Now, if you commit in January and something tragic happens in February or March, all right? Again, we're reasonable people, okay? But we're really asking them for you to commit, but it doesn't mean that anything horrible is going to happen if something comes up in February or March or April later on if it's serious. So that's kind of our reason for having you fill out commitment and permission forms, as well as there's information on there like the basic stuff you see on every camp website, allergies, the medical professional. I shouldn't say it like that. It is serious stuff, but we'll have you guys fill out all of that when you're ready, okay? So I'll pass these out today. Think about it, pray about it, ask as many questions as you need to ask. I know it's a serious thing to commit to, so ask as many questions as you need, but we're really hoping to get these in by January 20th, so it's another 6 weeks or so that you can pray about it and think about that. If we don't have any more questions, though, I'll give you guys these commitment forms to think about over the next few weeks, and then we can be dismissed. But are there any last-minute questions or anything like that? All right, I'm hoping that means that I did a good job explaining things, and it doesn't mean that you're so confused you don't even know what to ask. But we're always available to answer questions. So thank you guys very much for coming. Make sure you take one of these on your way out. The only fundraiser we'll have before this year ends is next Sunday after the morning service. We'll be selling some prepackaged baked goods that will be safe and that hopefully we can make some profit off of, all right? And then I'll get the fundraising schedule to you for the next few months very soon. Thank you guys.